let's move on to the linebacker position, the position that Washington seems to have devalued because we bypassed all of those linebackers and went for secondary and line, which we needed, but we still need a linebacker. So, and we'll start right off the top. We'll go inside with two of the guys that I really loved. One that kind of surprised me, and Jack Campbell going. Not that he went to you guys, but he went to you guys at 18. I don't. Again, that it's where I saw your board and kind of where they saw it. So it was two different things. But then Drew Sanders going from Arkansas to the Broncos and a defense that is pretty solid. I love that pick as well. But with you guys, Jack Campbell going 18th overall. I love Jack Campbell, what he can bring. But are you happy with that position, getting him there?
I was ecstatic when we picked him. I'm almost even happier now. Nice. This was my favorite linebacker by a mile. Like I said, the more tape I watch on him, the more I see Kuechly. Maybe not the first ballot Hall of Famer that Kuechly is, but Kuechly when he was coming into the NFL. Yeah. Very athletic, good in coverage, very nasty, gritty tackler. If you said, find me the ultimate Dan Campbell player, it might be Jack Campbell.
Yeah. His son. No relation, guys. No relation.
I wish there was some sort of relation there. But yeah, this was one where, again, what I was hearing was if he was there for Buffalo at 27 before they traded up and took Kincaid, that they were very, very interested in Jack Campbell. So I don't think he was there. Probably even when we picked at 34, and Brad Holmes said the exact same thing. He said if we thought he'd be there at 34, we'd wait. But we were almost certain he wasn't going to be there. So we just took him there. On the draft show, it was just like when we actually picked, I was just like, okay, well, Gibbs picks, so we have no idea who the hell's going.
Right.
So wait and see. And then they said Jack Campbell, and I just popped. I was so excited.
Yep.
I cannot wait to see this guy on the field.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned who's the linebacker you mentioned that you said his who you think he was like?
Oh, Kuechly.
I want to go somebody that's more in-house from the history books of the Lions. Guy Spielman. That. Yep. I grew up with this guy, and for a while it was all Washington and then just certain players. And obviously I had my eye on you guys because of Barry. I'm one of the biggest Barry fans. But Spielman, he embodies my whole life. Rub dirt on it. Hey, if we're not winning a playoff game, ain't nothing. Okay, we don't want to just go to the dance. We want to win the day. Like he's just that fire, man. I love what he brings to the table. And even just looking at the picture of Jack Campbell, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Spielman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to have to drag me off the field. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is Campbell's going to be on the field every down. He's great in coverage. He's great against the run. He's so freaking athletic. Yep. And the coverage was what made me think of Kuechly, honestly, because they play that zone coverage the same way. It's a lot of that risk to it. They'll sit a bit lower and try and bait the quarterback to throw over the top because they can jump up and snatch it. There's so much of that on tape. There's multiple in the Ohio State game from this past year where one he actually picked Stroud off baiting him. And then there were a couple that he got in the way of after just kind of sitting there almost like turn this way, kind of watching this guy, knowing there was a guy right behind him. So a smart, instinctive, athletic player. I cannot wait because my whole thing was Anzalone's brutal in coverage. So this is your coverage guy. Anzalone can still kind of do what he does. And then it's interesting to see where Malcolm Rodriguez fits in here.
Ooh. Yeah, could he be a casualty, or you think they fit him in?
No, he'll at the very worst he'd be in the rotation. If they run two linebackers, he'll be in the rotation with those two. In a three linebacker set, it'll be Campbell, Anzalone, and Rodriguez.
Okay, I like that. Going down the list at linebacker, I said Drew Sanders in the third. Dayon Henley out of Washington State. getting picked in the third. Same with Trenton Simpson, DeMarvion Overshown out of Texas. There was a run in the third, essentially, especially late third on linebackers. But one that I was talking to our guy Nick about, Noah Sewell. You and I have mentioned him. Yeah, obviously, that was somebody you had your eyes on. But he falls to the fifth round, and Nick was ecstatic. I love him. He's very underrated. We've seen the pedigree and the family name, and we see how good he is with you guys. And I love this in a way because now it's kind of like it's a little sibling rivalry, kind of like what it is with Amon-Ra St. Brown, his brother.
Yeah.
You know? So I love this, man.
This is almost kind of the second best scenario for me because I wanted him to be a Lion and go against Panay in practice every day. But to potentially see that matchup twice a year, yeah, that's a lot of fun. And if he had to go in division, I'm glad it was to Chicago. I'm shocked that he was fifth round. I am absolutely shocked. I thought third round. But then again, I was shocked that Trenton Simpson went as late as he did. Like, the linebackers kind of slid a bit.
Yeah.
Especially the order when they went.
Yeah, that surprised me as well because there's a lot of guys that dropped that I didn't think would drop. Sewell being one of them. But I didn't see Trenton Simpson being, the fifth guy, sixth guy off the board. And Marte Mapu for Sacramento State getting picked up by the Patriots, another pick that no clue about. But have you seen any tape on this guy? I mean,
not one bit. The only draft or like highlight I saw of him was when they picked him, and then you see the little bit of highlight tape for like 30 seconds while they're describing him. That's all I saw of him. So
very interesting. He's only 6'3", 217 guy. So the guy could play. He has like the size of a safety or a wide receiver, essentially. He's an older guy that's 23. Apparently, he's a rangy run defender and powerful striker with good stopping power. But again, Sacramento State, I'm looking at size. Where are they going to put this guy? You know, I mean, you're talking linebacker, But, hey, again, it's Belichick. Belichick's also the same guy that this year picked a kicker and, I believe, a punter in the draft. So
I believe so, yeah.
I'm not even going to try to understand what he's doing. But, yeah, this guy didn't even have on my draft board. So it's an understatement to say that I'm very surprised that he gets picked up before Trenton Simpson, who ends up going to the Ravens, or DeMarvion Overshown, who ends up going to Dallas. Dallas, I feel like Dallas watched our show and just looked at every person that I said I'd like, and they said, you know what? We're going to get him. Bring him over here. Yep.
Man, and like – that to me is like when I saw Overshown, I saw Micah Parsons.
Right.
And now that they're on the same defense, I was just like, come on, man. Like,
not good.
It's just not fair. It's just that nasty, aggressive, instinctive linebacker can play the edge, can do it all. I was just like, man, like, why did he have to go there?
I'm regretting doing this show because I didn't really pay attention to Dallas. And now it's like, God, come on, man. Because it was funny. Janae hit me up and she was like, number one defense. Yeah, we got the number one defense. And I'm like, man, y'all were nothing last year. But now I'm thinking Gilmore, DeMarvion Overshown. I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. Mozzie Smith. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, see, here's the thing. It's like, for me with Dallas, they got Mozzie Smith. They got Luke Schoonmaker, the two early Michigan guys. I love Overshown. They got Overshown.
Right.
Like, damn, I got to pay more attention to that this year.
Right. No, God. Oh. All right, we're moving on. I can't think about Dallas doing good anymore. All right, let's go to the outside linebacker. Obviously, Will Anderson. They traded up to get him at 3. Will McDonald, the 4th, out of Iowa State, gets picked up at 15. Before Nolan Smith, before a number of these guys. Are you surprised by that, going to the Jets?
Yes. To me, when Andrew had asked us, like, day 2 or day 3 of the draft, essentially, what our thought was for the worst pick of night 1, and to me it was Van Ness or Will McDonald. To me it was those two. And this is another one where I think they They wanted Gibbs or they wanted Broderick Jones. Both of them were off the board, so they're like, crap, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we already traded back. We got to take somebody. And they settled on Will McDonald, of all people. This was a guy, I like Will McDonald as a prospect, but as a second-round prospect. Same with Van Ness.
Yep.
To take him at 15 was crazy early, in my opinion.
I didn't understand it. I mean, we've been covering these guys all off season. We saw him and how much, his stock was rising at the pro day and the combine and things like that. But still, in my opinion, it wasn't enough to vote him into the first round, much less the 15th overall pick. You know what I mean? So, hey, more power to him. Let's see what he does. And we already know that defense is solid. So hopefully he'll be able to get him off the edge, and we'll see what he does in coverage. But still, to go before Nolan Smith, to go before Jack Campbell of you guys, it's just extremely surprising.
Yeah. Very much so.
And obviously we know Will Anderson Jr., like I said, going early, he was the best. He could have easily gone edge, if not, outside linebacker. Nolan Smith going to the Eagles at 31. And let me stop here because there's a trend here, okay, ladies and gentlemen. The Eagles got Nolan Smith. They got Jalen Carter. You'll see a little bit later they got Keely Ringo. And then, I forgot about this. I have a bone to pick with you, Alex. And then my dear friend over here decides that him and his team want to trade DeAndre Swift to the Eagles.
Yeah. Well, and
are you trying to sabotage me, man? What's going on?
Not to mention their draft last year, too.
Right.
Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. They are the Philadelphia Bulldogs.
That's it. Yes, that's what it is. That's their new name. They play in the NFC East and the SEC, and apparently they can do that. I don't know, but that to me is just out of this world. Seeing the picks that they got, we're talking about 5 members of the national championship team from 2 years ago, and then 2 guys or 3 guys from the championship team this past year. I mean, you got that kind of talent, that kind of caliber. You got 2
that chemistry.
Right. And you got 2 guys that have been in the league for a year. And that is invaluable because those are the guys that can tell the other young guys, especially a Carter who maybe have some, issues, off the field. Hey, come in here, keep your nose clean. You know what I mean? Stay out of the spotlight, that type of stuff. It's easier because of that chemistry to have that guy who who you played with, who you won with. It's easier to listen to that guy than it is to a random guy that's, he's a team leader, so he's going to come tell you how to do your thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't listen to Carter and Dean, before those other guys. So, yeah, that Philly, man, they just did big things in the draft. And to get all the daggone Bulldogs, I don't know how they were able to, first and foremost. How did every other team allow that? But, I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, Howie Roseman, he's got a little pipeline to Philly. Like, is that what's going on?
Yeah, he got Kirby Smart on speed dial or something? Like,
right?
What's going on here?
Come on now. So, hey, we'll see what goes on. Anybody else? I know B.J. Ojulari goes to the Cardinals, which was a huge pick. Mm-hmm. Nick Herbig going to the Steelers. I loved that one.
Yeah.
Any other picks that you saw that really kind of struck you?
I mean, I don't know whether they're going to play him at outside or inside linebacker. We kind of touched on him earlier, though. Trenton Simpson. This was outside of Jack Campbell, just the bias there. This was my favorite linebacker pick. Man, you're pairing him with Roquan Smith. If you put him in the middle of that defense in that 3-4, good Lord. That's
right.
Crazy athletic, good in coverage, nasty tackler. Like that. I've said all along Campbell was my favorite linebacker, but Trenton Simpson was my number 1 linebacker.
Yep.
So for him to be like the 5th backer off the board and to go to Baltimore of all places,
right?
That was another one where it's like, man, like why did everyone else leave him for there?
Right, exactly. The rich getting richer on defense because they already have a solid defense. That's another one who I wanted, but Washington was able to get KJ Henry, also out of Clemson. He played edge. And look, this guy's like 6'5", 250, the great size for it. He's got speed. This guy was a 5-star coming out of high school that came out of high school as not only an edge rusher, but also a tight end. So the guy he's definitely an athlete. And he also, when he was in high school, he was an All-American basketball player. You know what I mean? So that makes me think, okay, we're not just going to, have you stuck at edge. If that don't work, we could potentially move you back in the secondary because you got the wheels for that. He's I think 4'4", 4'5" guy. You know what I mean? We can move you all around, man. So I'm excited about that. We got him later, but still, I'm looking at some of these guys that went earlier, and I'm like, dang, Dan Henley, Trent Simpson, DeMarvion Overshown. All these guys were on my board where I was like, come on. Even Sewell, I'm like, he dropped this far, and we didn't even take a look at him? Like, what are we doing? So, yeah, still at odds with my front office, but it is what it is.